Hello, Steve White from Steve Arts 89. I'm having a look at Boar. Now, Boar is a 2017 horror movie. Um, it was written and directed by Chris Sun, 2017. Now, I first heard about it when one of the stars, Melissa Couts, was on The Real Housewives of Sydney, and she had just done the film, and I was really excited because I was like, I love the original. I consider this almost like a remake of the Australian film about a giant boar, Razorback. Can't believe I forgot the name. I watched that when I was a kid. I thought it was great. It was sort of touted as Jaws on land or Jaws on trotters back in the day, and I sort of saw it as a sequel or a remake to that, or just another film like that. I was like, how can you go wrong with a monster movie? I mean, it's basically what it is. So I was waiting for it. I didn't see it in the cinema, didn't see it get a release. I saw it on DVD, and I sort of was like, I should buy that. And eventually I did. And I watched it last night, and I was a little disappointed. I was kind of surprised. Let's just get straight to the business, the boar. The practical boar that they actually film is decent. It looks good. It looks scary. It's bloody and big, and interacts fairly well with the humans as eating and that. And there's some good gore scenes. But the CGI boar is awful. There's a couple of shots where it looks fine, where it's like running and stuff. And part of the thing that they do is they don't hide it like Jaws, but they just sort of, you see it quickly. So kind of works, but then there's some shots that are just really bad. There's a shot where one guy is being tossed around and had his head bitten off, and it's like they couldn't make it's really blurry, like the whole shot, and it's not motion blur or stylized or anything. I think it's just the CGI was so bad they thought, we can't show it like it is, we need to just make it blurry, and maybe people think that's just out of focus in the moment because it's like an action scene, and it's meant to be like that, when I think they were just trying to hide that the CGI wasn't good. And there's another part where there's a guy, it's right after this kill actually, there's another guy who's run away. He basically, I should go into the story. It's not that complicated. Basically, a small town, things start getting killed. There's a bit of a rumor about a boar, which we don't hear till late in the film, which kind of would have helped. They could have tried to set up some sort of myth or some sort of anticipation or something, but they don't even try. They just mention it later on, toward like probably the fourth quarter of the film. They mention it, and there's a family that arrives in town, and there's just a spattering of people that you sort of get introduced to who get killed. Now, some of the actual characters, like Ernie Dingo's in it, John Jarrett, a couple other people I recognise, but I don't know their names. Australian film actors have been around for a while, and they all do a good job. You kind of like the characters. It focuses on Melissa Kurt. I've got her name already. She runs a bar, so she's sort of like the centre of the town. Everyone knows her. John Jarrett's her father, and it doesn't take long for them to get taken out. And I don't want to totally spoil it for you, because but there's one point. There's a guy. They're walking with another guy. They see the boar. They're looking at it, and one of them, who's smart enough, one's fascinated, and everyone's smart enough to just run. He shoves the other guy in its path, and then runs. And he's still running later after this guy gets killed, and that's the bad CGI scene where it's just he's tossing the body around like a rag doll, and it's just the whole shot is out of focus. And then he's running, trying to warn people, run, but they can't hear him because he's far away and he's puffed. And then as he's getting close, suddenly the boar comes in from the side and just takes him out. And then I'm like, how did the boar get there? Because I wanted to see it chase him, and just that moment of seeing him running, knowing he could not outrun it and he's going to get killed. They could have had some tension or something. No, they just try for like a jump scare by having it come through the side. But you're not you're too busy thinking, how the fuck did it get there without them seeing it to actually be shocked. It's more like shocked by how bad it was staged. Um, so there's a couple of directing choices which were kind of bad there, which obviously it was just written to be a scare and it doesn't work, and it would have been much better to be written to try for some tension or something. Um, so I was really kind of surprised and disappointed by the quality of the CGI work. Like I said, the actual prop, the actual um, Razorback they made, not Razorback, the boar they made, was actually decent. It actually looked good when it was filming and was actually up close killing people in the scenes where they actually kind of choreographed like a death scene. But when they had the CGI one just run through, and the other weird thing is when it was running out of that shot with the guy in his mouth, it looked fairly realistic as it was running away. So it was really inconsistent, where some shots it looked quite believable, and other shots it looked really fake. And the actual live one, it seemed a bit static, but it still looked realistic. Um, so it was just all over the place, and it's such a pity because you like the characters. You actually, they're not hugely developed or anything. They're not hugely complicated or anything, but you do kind of like them. You enjoy being around them. I kind of enjoyed the atmosphere, and I don't like the country. I moved to the city. I lived in a country town. I hated it. I moved to the city, and I have a bit of cultural cringe whenever I see something set in the outback. A lot of us Aussies do, because we don't identify with those people and that characterization of those people, which is usually what everyone else sees in the media and other countries, and that's like a cultural identity that, throw another shrimp on the Barbie, Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee sort of thing. There's a few people who live like that. That those people do exist, but that's not the majority of Australians. So, but I didn't feel that with this. I kind of just was happy to hang out with these people, so I didn't mind them. And I was a little bit sad when they died. Now, John Jarratt, unfortunately, I couldn't take him seriously in this film, because he was trying to be like a nice guy, like slightly not like a country guy who just couldn't give two tosses about much. But when he finds someone who's been attacked by the boar is still alive, he's trying to be sympathetic, and it's I can't, after seeing him in Wolf Creek, this is just too closely related to be able to remove him from it and distance him from it, even though he was in the movie about the alligator in the outback, or is it crocodile? I forget. Alligator's American, crocodile's Australian, yeah. He was in that, and I didn't even recognise him. I saw the film, I think, 3 times in the cinema and twice on DVD before I realised, oh, that's John Jarratt in that role. Oh, okay. He did a good job of actually just playing another character and not looking or acting or feeling like the same person. This one, he feels like the same person who just isn't an evil serial killer. But I had trouble when he was trying to, like, when he was talking to I was like, I couldn't buy it at all. And I'm not sure if it's just too closely related, because I've seen him do other movies and his performance was really good. But I couldn't take him seriously in this. Although he was a good character, but just in those scenes, he was trying to be really sympathetic and sensitive on some level, or traumatized, and I just couldn't take him seriously. Now, that said, I still enjoyed it. There's a very bad, unrealistic scene at the end, which I'm not going to spoil it. This is not a total spoilers review, but stuff happens and I'm like, really? And you kind of want to be like, oh, well, that's good. But it's just too unbelievable to really enjoy it. But I can't say much more about actually. I can't complain much about it actually really talking about it. I'm just going to leave. If you're watching this because you're like, I don't know if this film's any good, should I watch it? I don't want to totally ruin it for you. There should be something left. So I'm just going to leave it there. I did enjoy it. It was nice seeing the practical board. It's always fun to see when they build a practical... Jesus, my neighbour needs to fix his car. Wow. I'm assuming you can hear that over me. It's always great when it's not all CGI, because a lot of the time CGI doesn't work, and even when it does, you kind of know it's not real. And the idea that they had that real boar, you know how much fun they would have been to film with, and how intimidating it would have been, or just like the Jaws shark. People had a lot of fun with that shark when it was working. And this is sort of the same. So I'm glad they used a practical one. They had to anyway. but the CGI one was a mixed bag. Some shots looked really good and gave it some life. Other ones were just bad. And some of the staging, some of the way they planned some of the deaths just really didn't work, and others did. So it's not often that I see a film, a horror movie and a monster movie, where half of it works and half it doesn't. Normally they either don't work, the person doesn't know what they're doing, or they don't have the budget to do it, or they do and it works really well. This was backwards and forwards. But I did enjoy the characters, I did enjoy the actors, and I probably would watch it again, because often when I'm watching a horror movie or something again, I'm not scared by it. I might have got scared the first time. Maybe if I watched it for a few years, it might get me again with the jump scares. I'm usually just watching it because I like the atmosphere and just something about it. And I did like the atmosphere and the characters in this, so I'll probably watch it again. It's definitely going to be part of my collection, but I was kind of disappointed that I was expecting a more serious attempt at a horror movie, and this was not quite camp, just kind of unsophisticated in a way. But I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'm probably going to do a few of these. I'm just going to call them little retro reviews, because I just like to talk about movies, and there's a lot of movies that I've seen that I really love, and I just want to do a video about them. So I think they all deserve a video talking about them, and not all of them have one. Some do, and they're better than mine, but I still would like to give my view of it. So I'm just going to leave it there. Thanks. Bye.